particular video, we'll be treating the matrix method of solving simultaneous equations. As you are aware, we have about 4 methods of solving simultaneous equation, but in this particular video, I'll be solving simultaneous equation using the matrix method. So how do I solve these two equations using matrix method? So I need to first write them in a matrix form. That's very, very important, and I'll show you how to write simultaneous equations in matrix form. So if I have this, let me write out the first equation, minus 5y equals to 3. Then my second equation is x plus 3y equals to 0. Now I can write them out in matrix form. So this number here, I'll write out their coefficients. But I need you to note something. Before I write any equation in matrix, I must make sure that the variable on the same vertical direction, they are the same. What I mean by that is, I cannot have 3y on this side and x on this side when x is here and y is here. So it must be x, x, y, y. So let me write the answer of the matrix form on this particular side. So what I would have is, tell me the coefficients. The coefficient here is what? Minus 2. The coefficient of x here is what? 1. The coefficient of y here is minus 5. The coefficient of y here is plus 3. Then I bracket them, put them in a matrix bracket. Now I need to note the variable. What variables am I looking for? Is what? X and y. Then is equals to, what's the answer of the equation? Is 3 and 0. Now I need you to see something very beautiful here. What I've just done here is the same thing as saying this. And if you look at this, if I multiply this matrix by this matrix, I will have this back. Because how do I multiply a matrix? Row times column. It's row times column. I'll just multiply row times column. I'm going to have this particular answer back. So let's move from here. Now, before I can solve this equation, I need to know something very, very key. So that is, delta 1 over delta is equals to x, delta 2 over delta is equals to y. Now let's assume the equations have 3 variables. So that means that delta 3 over delta equals to z. So in this, now we need to find delta 1, we need to know delta, and as well we need to know delta 2. So what is delta 1 and what is delta 2? So I will write delta is equals to this particular matrix that I have here, I'm going to have minus 2, minus 5, 1, and 3. That's the value of my delta. So, comma, delta 1. Now, let's check delta 1. What would delta 1 be? Delta 1 will equals to, now, look at this. Instead of me writing this column, I'm going to be writing the answer. So, I'm replacing the first column for delta 1 by what? 3 and 0. Then I'll repeat the last one, minus 3 and 3. So I believe you can guess what delta 2 look like. So delta 2, that means that it's not the first column I'm changing, it's the second column I'm changing. So I need to write the first column. That's 2 and 1. So instead of me writing the second column, I'll write the answer 3 and 0. So after I've written this, I'll find the determinant of this, determinant of this, determinant of this, then divide them over each other. Then I'm done. Now, how do we find the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix? Let's take delta for an example. Delta will give us minus 2, minus 5, 1, and 3. So how do we find the determinant? It's very, very simple. Multiply this, the diagonals together. That's minus 2 times 3. That'll give me what? Minus 6. Then subtract the other diagonal. That's 5 times this is what? Minus 5. So if I have minus times minus plus, minus 6 plus 5, I'll have minus 1 as my answer. So delta, value for delta is what? Minus 1. We've just found the determinant of delta. So for delta 2 now, sorry, delta 1, we have delta 1 is equals to 3, 0, minus 5, and 3. So let's find the determinant. So we would have 3 times 3, that's what we'll do first. 3 times 3 is what? 9, minus 0 times minus 5, that's obviously 0. So the answer to this is what? 9. The answer of delta 1 is 9. So let's do delta 2. Delta 2 will give us 2, 1, 3, 0. So let's multiply the diagonals together. 2 times 0 will give me what? 0. Minus 1 times 3 is what? 3. And then my answer is what? Minus 3. Because 0 is nothing. Just write the minus 3 that we have there. So we are almost rounding up. So what we need to do next is find x and y. So remember that Delta 1 over delta is equals to x, abi? So what's the value of delta 1? Delta 1, what did we get as delta 1? 9. What did we get as delta? Minus 1. So the answer here is minus 9. Delta 2 over delta is x, I'm sorry, y. So for our delta 2 is minus 3, delta 1 is minus 1. The answer here is what? Positive 3. So therefore we can say that x is equals to minus 1, y is equals to 3. Sorry, minus 9. Yes, minus 9. X is equals to minus 9, y is equals to 3. We have this for our example 2. Now, if you observe this question, you will notice that this is not written in the order that I explained. So we have x and y here, we have y and a constant here. So all we basically need to do is rewrite our equation 2 so much that it's going to have the same variable in the same direction and y in the same direction. So how do we achieve that? So I can write it as first one is 2x plus 5y equals to 3, and this is okay. But for this, I need to rewrite it. So if I take minus 2x to this side, it becomes plus 2x. Then I still have plus y on this end. I'll have plus y is equals to, when I remove minus 2x to come to this side, I'm having 11 and 1. That's the matrix for delta. For delta 1 now, instead of me writing 2, 2, I'm going to write the answer. What's the answer? 3 and 11. Then what's the second column? 5 and 1. Then delta 2. For delta 2, we'll be writing the first column, that's 2 and 2. Then we'll be writing the answer 3 and 11. So we need to find the determinant of this, and this. So to solve it, delta will give us what? 2 times 1 is 2. That's minus 2 times 5 is what? 10. And the answer to delta will give us what? Minus 8. 2 minus 10 is minus 8. For delta 1 will give us 3 times 1 is 3 minus 11 times 5 is 55. So 3 minus 55, that will give us minus 52. Let's go to delta 2. Delta 2 is 2 times 11 is what? 22 minus 2 times 3 is 6. So we need to subtract. We are going to have 22 minus 6. That should give us 16. So remember that x is equals to delta 1 over delta, right? Then our y is equals to delta 2 over delta. So our delta 1 in this case is minus 52 over, then our delta is what? Minus 8. So minus cancels minus. Now let's divide this because I believe something can divide it. So from the look of things, first you'll be able to divide 52. 4 here is 2, 4 here is 1, then put 1 here, that's 13. So x is 13 over 2. Let's check for y. Our delta 2 is 16, our delta is minus 8. So the answer here is what? Minus 2. So therefore, x equals to 13 over 2 and y equals to minus 2. Oftentimes, our question usually come in matrix form already, so that has made our work already easier. So obviously from here, we should know that our delta will be equals to this matrix. That's minus 4, 1, 3, and 2. Then our delta 1, what would our delta 1 look like? Our delta 1, we are not going to write in the first column, we are going to write in 11 and 8. Then the second column is 3 and 2. Then our delta 2 is the second column that we are changing, but we are writing the first column. Minus 4 and 1, then 11 and 8. So we have to find the determinant of this, we have to find the determinant of this, we have to find the determinant of this. So the determinant of this should give me minus 4 times 2 is minus 8, minus 1 times 3 is what? 3. So what I would have here is what? Minus 11. Then on this end, I'm asked to find the determinant of this. What would I have? Delta 1 will be equals to 11 times 2 is what? 22 minus 3 times 8, sorry, 3 times 8, yes, 24. Then this will give us what? Minus 2 as our answer. Then we have the last one, delta 2. Delta 2 give us what? 4 times 8 is 32. I have 30, sorry, this should be minus 32 because of the minus. Minus 32 minus 1 times 11 is what? 11. So the answer to this should give us Minus 32 minus 11, that's minus 43. So what we need to do next is find x and find y. So what do we have? We are going to have x is equals to delta 1 over delta. What's our delta 1? Minus 2. I have minus 2. Our delta is minus 11. Minus 11. Then our delta 2, which is y equals to delta 2 over delta, that's minus 43 over minus 11. So therefore, x is equals to 2 over 11 and y equals to 43 over 11, because the minus will cancel up and down, the minus as well will cancel up and down.